Chris is a valued member of our Dean's Advisory Board. He's also a member of our Center for Global Leadership Advisory Board. Chris is Vice President of Emerging Technologies at Cisco Systems, and his contributions to Cisco's success as a Fortune 50 company are quite diverse. His primary responsibility is to create effective strategies to aggressively grow each one of Cisco's emerging technology businesses, but not just grow them to $1 billion businesses. Quite a goal there, Chris. His current portfolio includes smart grid networks, digital media systems, physical security, media experience and analytics, and Linksys home networking. Chris interacts frequently with many diverse global technology players, including Walmart, Best Buy, Amazon, IBM, and Samsung. In addition, Chris is a valued member of various Cisco corporate social responsibility programs, projects that are focused on providing education, rural development, and healthcare through the use of networking technology. Over the years, Chris has held a key position in Bangalore, and he also led the western area of the United States. Now, as you'll hear quite clearly in about 30 seconds, Chris was born and educated in England. And just in case you haven't yet heard enough to be sufficiently impressed, let me also add that Chris represented Great Britain in rowing in the World Championships in 1981 and 82. We're honored. Help me welcome Chris White.
Thank you very much. First part of my presentation today is using a bit of technology here. And it is a brand new app. I don't know if you've seen it. It's an application that when you launch it, it holographically produces a presentation. And you get to step away from the podium and it speaks for itself. Well, maybe I don't have that app on my iPad today, but maybe there's a business opportunity out there for one of these great UCI grads. I'm going to go a bit of old school and new school here using technology and good old those paper notes that keep us all in good stead. First of all, thank you, Andy, Chancellor, the faculty. Thank you for this group to be part of what is an amazing day. You should be so proud of what you've achieved, and you should be so excited about the future ahead of you. What I wanted to share with you is 3 fundamental principles that I've learned over the years that I've layered on top of the great foundation of leadership you've learned about in your courses. Those really are the idea of keeping everything in perspective, embracing change, and going after the opportunity that is out there in the world today. I do have the good fortune of working for a major corporation. We're taught that we have to change jobs what seems like every 3 months. I've had 10 roles at Cisco in 17 years. We're a $40 billion company, a proud member of the Fortune 50. We generate $3 billion worth of cash every 90 days, yet sometimes that doesn't seem to be enough. The pressure on us to compete, the people that want to compete with us across the globe is more amazing and more impressive than ever. So how will you compete? How will you lead in this flatter, more connected world? One of my favorite authors is Thomas Friedman. For those of you who read his books, the 3 books, The World is Flat probably was the motivation for me to take my family to Bangalore, India, and learn what an emerging market is all about. His second book was a very sobering topic of hot, flat, and crowded. He talked about how America has to embrace innovation and be competitive to compete on the global world. And his most recent book, which I actually haven't read yet, is the sobering title, That Used to Be Us. But I want to challenge us all around the phenomenal opportunities ahead of us. This is one of the most impressive audiences I've ever had the good fortune of speaking to. It is also probably the most unique. I don't think I've ever presented to a group of anteaters before. But also to add a little twist here, my gorgeous family is sitting in the audience as well. A little pressure here from my perspective. That's another first. I'm proud to have them here on Father's Day. But let's think about what a connected global world we are competing in today. I'm looking in front of my future competitors. I'm looking in front of my future employers. I'm potentially looking forward to some people that I will have the good fortune of working with in my career in the future. The BRIC economies, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, used to dominate the world back in the 1900s when they dominated the silk routes and the trading routes. Those 4 countries are in a major resurgence of good fortune at the moment, and it is predicted by 2050, India and China will be the largest, most buoyant economies on this planet. Something to understand when you go out there and compete in the global world today. By 2015, there will be 20 billion connected devices connected on this planet. 20 billion connected devices. I see a lot of you have them today in your hands today. How many people in this audience have seen the famous Did You Know videos on YouTube? A quick show of hands, audience participation, did you know? So there is a 6th version of that Did You Know video now on YouTube, and I'd ask you all to remember to go take a look at that. It has some amazing statistics and some inspirational challenges to us. It also has one statistic after living in India that resonated with me. 25% of Indians with the highest IQ are greater than the population of the USA. That means they graduate more graduate students than we have students in this country. That is the volume of people we are competing with today. I also learned in India they're some of the most politest, welcoming part of this world today, and enjoyed the time there. But the rate of change is accelerating at an amazing pace. The internet doubles every 2 years. I know many of you are searching for the next iPad, the next Google, but I wanted to share with you 2 quick examples of current examples of innovation and competitiveness right in the modern world today. The first actually does take me back to where I was born in England. How many people know of the company Tesco? Anyone know Tesco? Okay, thank you. Tesco's actually is in North America under the Fresh and Easy brand. Tesco's used to be a little old grocery store in England. Now they are one of the largest retailers in England and have embarked on a very aggressive campaign around the world. Literally, 1 out of every 7 pounds spent in England is spent at a Tesco store. They've entered the United States, but one market they looked at was the market of Korea. And it is amazing to see how innovative and aggressive they have to be to compete in Korea. The Koreans are the second most hard-working people on this planet. Shopping is a major inconvenience for the Koreans, at least under this study. Supermarkets already exist in Korea. People are already busy. How would Tesco's enter that market? So the amount of innovation, they studied work patterns, they studied the flow of commerce. And what they did is literally rent the subways that the Koreans commute on. They have rented the subway walls, not to open stores, but literally to put high-definition photographs down those stores. They have used technology and put QR codes on the pictures of all their products they produce. And so Koreans, as they go to work or come back, can literally take a smartphone, tag a QR code, and order products online. That is supplied through their e-commerce engine, and it's available shortly after they get home. That has allowed Tesco's to become not just successful in Korean market, but literally they are now the #1 online market store. They are actually close to being #2 in offline. New membership is up 76%, and online has increased 130%. Think about the innovation, think about the rate of change that they had to do to create that. The second example I'd like to share with you is one a little closer to home. I work for a division within Cisco called the Emerging Technologies Group. We are chartered with a lot of pressure, as Andy mentioned, to create billion-dollar markets. One of our first successes was looking at the video conferencing market. Video conferencing market has been around for many years. Cisco has millions of dollars worth of video conferencing units around our buildings in 120 different countries. Yet literally the utilization of that technology was less than 10%. Why was that? It was hard, it was complicated, it really didn't make you feel like part of the meeting. So what the team at Cisco did was look at that experience. They literally took a boardroom, a conference room table, they sliced it in half, put 3 ultra-high definition screens in the middle of that table. And then from one side of the room, you can sit here in Irvine, the other side of the room, you can sit anywhere in the world. It is life-size video. You press one button to talk to anyone in the world. If someone from the left talks, it feels like someone from the left talks. You can look eyeball to eyeball with that person. You can interrupt each other. It was the closest thing to in-person meeting we could pull off. That now is a multi-billion-dollar business for us. We are now proud #1 market share in the video conferencing market, and it is a way we had to innovate and transform. I will share with you, we launched that product in the same year that a Chinese competitor copied our entire product line. We tried to take that competitor to court in the international courts. It's a pretty interesting negotiation when you are trying to negotiate with literally a retired Red Army general on patent infringements around China. But it was a painful lesson to us that said, you have to keep competing on innovation. You have to stay competitive. You don't know where your competitors are going to come from. They could come from Southern California, they could come from China, they could come from Bangladesh. But with a connected world, you've got to be ready to compete. You've got to stay innovative along the way. The other remarkable example of what telepresence can bring was a very personal example I used with my family. When we lived in Bangalore, we went to our telepresence room in Bangalore one Saturday morning. My mother and father-in-law, who live in Southern California, came to our office down the road in Irvine. As we sat down to begin this meeting, the lights went on. My wife bursts into tears. My daughter runs up to the screen to hug her grandmother because it was just an absolute close to imperfection. We have not yet developed the feature of virtual hugs on that technology yet, but maybe with UCI's help, we can add that to the features ahead. But I was also asked to talk about leadership. And boy, what can I add to leadership that this team has not already studied, that's not already perfected? If you check out the UCI website, it talks about commitment, technology skills, supervisory skills, goal setting. It's an impressive set. I would just like to add, please use those skills that you have learned here and apply them to the business world. Help lead the business world. I'm always amazed that I have some unbelievably qualified people and educated people in the business world, especially in the MBA classes. But people are proud of their MBAs, but they don't actually utilize it enough, in my humble opinion. Companies like mine spend millions of dollars on consultants when we have fantastic students like this working for us already. Please have the confidence in business. No matter what your tenure, no matter what your background, have the confidence of the great things you have learned here at UCI to make companies like ours even better than we already are. But the three filters I'd like to add are change, perspective, and opportunity. I think I've embraced all three of them in my career, and reflecting on what has made me successful and keeps me successful are those three things. Change, perspective, and opportunity. Maybe there's a new acronym there, CPO. But the rate of change is unbelievably accelerating. We often talk about getting comfortable with change. And I'm sorry, change is comfortable for you when it happens to you. It's not comfortable for me when it happens for me. I took my whole family to India. I took my kids to one of the best schools in India, TISB in Bangalore. That was a lot of change. But I will share with you, we had more experiences from a family, from an education, and from a business perspective in the first year we were there than in the prior 10. The vibrant culture, the competitive dynamic, Western culture trying to figure out how to work and collaborate with Eastern culture was an amazing inspirational experience. There is a line that I use a lot in business, and I'd like to share it with you. When you're faced with a lot of change, when you're faced with a lot of uncertainty, and in these current economic times, you've got to be prepared for a lot of uncertainty. There is a phrase we use a lot at Cisco, and it is, deal with the world the way it is, not the way you might want it to be. Sometimes in business, you get a little bit carried away with, well, what if, or if only doesn't count in business. It is all what you're dealing with right now. Whether it's a competitive dynamic, a challenge in your personal life, you have to deal with the world the way it is. And that is when leadership kicks in. So please, embrace change. It is not slowing down one bit. But secondly, keep it all in perspective. A very good colleague of mine talked to me a couple of weeks ago and reminded me of the randomness of life. As high achievers, we're all focused on the goal, we're all focused on the achievement, but sometimes there is a randomness of life. You have to keep things in perspective, in good times and bad times. But I would also encourage you to keep a positive mental attitude. An acronym I live by, PMA, a positive mental attitude. It is all about perspective. The press is full about the record unemployment rates of 8.2% in North America. Why don't we talk more about what the other 91.8% do? We focus on the small piece, not the big piece. We focus about how good the brick economies are, yet there are billions spent in the mature world all today. Something we have the opportunity to compete and enjoy with. Stay positive. Your glass has to be half full, not half empty. That glass might get a little dirty or a little murky over time, but stay positive and enjoy that. But also, think about the opportunity ahead. What an amazing opportunity. What a great foundation you have to enjoy. But I'd also challenge you to think about what opportunity really is. Business school and Cisco says, stay close to our customers. UCI is a great customer of ours. Listen to what they need. I want to challenge that conventional thinking a little bit. If Henry Ford had asked his customer base what they needed, what do you think the reply would have been? We need to get these horses running faster. We need to develop steroids for oats. Versus he innovated